So what I want to do right now is I want to introduce you to just a great guy, one of the most open, big-hearted, generous, and completely high-energy people I've ever met. If you're a friend of his on Facebook, you'll see he just posts these incredible insights on kind of life, the human condition, and his journey. Shares the ups and the downs, the highs and lows. Has just an incredible story to tell. We met at $1 Million Coach Intensive 4 months ago, and I'm really, really grateful that he's going to share his story. I was on his podcast yesterday, and AJ is returning the favor today. I want to introduce you to AJ. I'm going to unmute him now and welcome him to the call. AJ, are you there?
Hey, Taki, what's going on, brother?
Dude, I am stoked to be here with you. You're almost the only person I know who speaks as quickly as me and probably with even more energy. So great to have you here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I'm really honored to do this call with you.
We're going to have a good time. So can you just do 30 seconds on who you are, what kind of people you help, how it works, just to give people some
Yeah,
background?
absolutely. Yeah, sure thing, Taki. So I am AJ, and I live in New York. I have two businesses. One's an online weight loss business that I've been building up for about 10 years, and also started a new business, really going full force with this since November of 2014. And this is where I help personal trainers and health coaches scale their online businesses. So it's very similar to the black belt model, attracting clients on the internet. It's converting them, but using mainly high-ticket sales, and then on the back end, building a virtual infrastructure that leverage the training instead of doing one-on-one in-person training.
Right, so your job is to help people who are doing kind of time for money, one-on-one sessions, like coaches do, but in this case it's kind of health coaches and PTs, to do something much more scalable, much more leverage, much more online.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. So if you listen to this and you know a PT, you should totally send him to AJ because he's a bit of a badass at what he does. All right, man. So that's that. We met in April in New York City at the $1 Million Coach. What made you come to that event?
Okay, I had no idea who you were, and
Yeah.
I'm friends with Seth Ellsworth, and he
Oh, legend.
praised you so much, and I really respect Seth. He's an amazing guy and very successful. So when Seth tells me something, I take it seriously. So then I just got the email. I was on your list, and I was like, let me just check it out. And I was going in. I was like, okay, $97. Why not? Let me try it. I had no idea I was going to sign up, but I was just blown away by like the first day. I was like, wow, when this guy makes an offer, I'm going to say yes to it. And I was just like, my mind was going off like crazy because, I've been a student of marketing for many years, but the way that you simplify the concepts and how I got it, things are starting to click. And just in fact of where my business was, it's still kind of like this, coaching personal trainers. It's still someone in its infancy. I've only been doing it, like I said, not even a year. So then I saw all the frameworks and all the things that you had in Black Belt, and I said, this is a program for me.
Well, dude, that's kind of epic. That's exactly what I wanted you to think. So I'm glad that it worked. Let's talk a little bit about your situation. So, like, at that stage, I think it was kind of April. Talk to me a bit about I guess the challenges of kind of what was going on business-wise that made you go, crap, I need some help.
So since this program was fairly new, I was just running it off a Facebook fan page, and I was just running Facebook ads to a webinar and then doing a strike call. So that was my whole funnel. Very, very rudimentary, and it was converting well. I mean, I was doing decently with it, but I didn't have much credibility because it was running off a Facebook fan page. So while I was at the MDCI, it was all these light bulbs going off, like all the stuff that I need to do that I've been putting off, like starting an authority blog, creating a lead magnet, having a much more sophisticated type of funnel, and also having different traffic sources. It was much needed in my case to really get to the next level. And what really sold me, Taki, was when you had that ladder, that ascension ladder, and I saw when you pointed at my income, and I was like, my heart dropped. I'm like, shit, I've been stuck there for the past couple of months. I need to go up. And that was like, the moment I took out my credit card and said, I got to do this. So then I really came to see that, I had inconsistent leads coming in. I didn't have as much authority, even on the strategy sessions. People were like, well, okay, do you have a website? And well, not really. This is a private program. So It was all these things, and it just, like I said, was at a place where I was capped out income-wise, and I figured that like I had to do a whole bunch of stuff. The only way I was going to do it was by joining black belt, having a gun to the head, and just taking massive action.
Yeah, which you've totally done. Uh, I get the funnel, Facebook to webinar to a call and the close from there. Um, the price of your program back then, I know it's changed a little bit now, but back then, what was the price?
The price was $2,000, so I was doing like 3 payments of 650 at the time.
3 times $650. Okay. You said like inconsistent lead flow. It sounded like you closed. Okay. What was and you said you've kind of been stuck at a level for a couple of months. Kind of, how did it feel to be kind of spinning your wheels a little bit? What was going on?
It was very frustrating, because I knew I was in a killer niche just based on like doing one webinar and in November, and it took off like crazy, and I started getting a lot of new clients, but it was, not systematized at all. I mean, I had a decent back end and membership site, and I was getting results for my students, but I was just doing like kind of like a 3 month program. And what ended up happening was I had no ascension model, so they just do the 3 months, and it'd be like an awkward conversation. So, hey, you want to continue? It was like, okay, it wasn't really going anywhere. So I was making a decent amount of sales, but the long-term client acquisition, I was putting a lot of money on the table. And, the lead flow is inconsistent. When you're in a field where you are basically selling business advice and talking about financial claims, Facebook doesn't like that. So I was having issues with my Facebook account getting shut down every few
Oh,
weeks.
yeah.
And yeah, I just felt like there was a barrier above my head. I kept on hitting my head against it at the end of the month.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You're a driven dude. Like everything about you says, I want more. I want it to be better. I want to grow faster. Like you've got discipline and willpower. You're kind of a little bit superhuman, but you kind of stuck where it was. Remember when we chatted yesterday, just before the podcast, or maybe just after, you said because you've been stuck at a certain income level, you felt a little bit like there was a limiting belief or something like that. Can you tell me a bit more about that piece?
Yeah, sure. So, the core of my other business is like a mindset-based online fitness business. So I do a lot of mindset work. I have a master's degree in psychology, and I remember like on the first day of MDCI, you said something really, I guess it clicked with me. You were like, it's not your mindset, but it's the model. And I think I was coming into like a limiting belief that I hit like a financial income block that I could not get past it. So I was trying to understand like why am I stuck here, and is there something? Do I need to be hypnotized or something like that to just change this belief about myself?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So luckily, I don't have any kind of mindset tools at all, um, but I'm good at model, right? So we kind of worked on model and marketing, and things have changed a bunch. Just before we get into kind of what you've done and what you've implemented, um, from memory, dollars-wise, you were around the 20K a month sort of number. Is that right? Kind of a little bit up, a little bit down sometimes, but kind of about that number?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So lots of people kind of probably look at you and go, dude, you're the man. Uh, but if you want to grow, like I think I might have even said in that letter you talk about, like a lot of coaches get to this point where kind of everyone else looks at them like, oh man, you're doing really well. And you're like, yeah, but compared to where I could be, want to be, should be, I'm nowhere near, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about kind of what you've done. Like you've done some good stuff, and we'll get to kind of results in a little bit. But right now, why don't you just tell us a couple of the kind of the key pieces from Black Belt that you've taken and implemented? Kind of what have been the kind of 2 or 3 pieces which have made the biggest difference for you?
Okay, well, just having like the first coaching call and starting the month off, I started, April 1st, 2015. I just took off like a bat out of hell because I had this, action plan. I'm like, I'm going to do this in the next 30 days. So I just implemented like crazy. Like I literally busted my ass, put in like, 12-hour days of work. I stayed in on the weekends. It was like do or die, do whatever it takes mindset. And within the 30 days, I got my authority side up. I completed my lead magnet. I revised my webinar. I started implementing triages. I got a whole new set of autoresponders set up on Active Campaign, and
Dude,
I was like hell bent on hitting my goals and most importantly making my ROI back from the black belt investment.
Yeah, well, dude, hang on. I'm trying really hard to keep up with your talk. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of these. I was already said it's been like a big part of what you do. Um, why don't we talk a little bit about, actually, let's do this. Let's talk about a couple of these. Let's go into maybe, let's talk
Oh
about
yeah,
triage.
I also started my podcast too. I was setting up the first episode that first month of Black Belt.
Oh, great. Well, let's talk about those three things, and we'll kind of see where they take us. Hang on a sec. So we're going to talk about podcast. Let's go talk about podcast, authority, and triage, right? So let's do triage first. I know that you already sold your program before. Tell me what difference the triage call made. Like, how was that different to how you've been doing it, and why did that help?
Wow, triage call made a significant difference. I'll be quite honest. At first, when I implemented the triage, I was kind of doing it half-assed. So,
Yeah,
I was setting them up for a 10, 15-minute call, and then I was like, oh, it looks like this guy wants to buy. So then I would turn it into a sales call, and I was failing miserably because it
yeah.
totally
Everybody
destroyed
does that. Oh, but they're really right now. Like, no, there's a point. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and at that point, I realized that I need to do it more strategically and stick to my guns. And
Yeah.
I think I'll get into how at first I was kind of doing 50% black belt, 50% the old stuff I was doing, and that winging it really screwed me up. I actually had a very good conversation with Jonathan Heislop, a
Yeah,
fellow
he's
black
awesome.
belter, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
been in it. He's more of a veteran, so he's kind of like the guy that's like telling me like, listen, man, you gotta stick with fundamentals. You're gonna wing it, you're gonna screw everything up. So he was like a big brother to me to really teach me the best way to go about it. And I had this long conversation with him about not winging it and just modeling it to a T. And really, when I got to triage exactly to a T, the language, the tone, the setup, wow, it made a significant difference.
So talk to me about conversion rates. Like, I don't know, what were you converting before? What are you converting now? What changed?
So before, I would say, man, I was probably converting like 60%, give or take,
Hmm.
And right now, I would say I'm converting about 90%. Um, my best week of sales, I closed 10 sales in 1 week. And also, I mentioned I raised my prices. So right now, I'm charging $5,000. So that was five sales at five. I'm sorry, 10 sales at $5,000 in 1 week because of doing the triage properly.
Dude, that's fantastic. I didn't know. That's fantastic. So it's gone from 2K before, same program, right? To 5?
Same, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, essentially
Well,
the
obviously
same
you
program
improved it,
I
but kind of the
added
same kind
before.
of core offering.
Yeah, yeah, yes, of course. I also added a lot of the awesome back end coaching elements of Black Belt into it to just make it killer. And like, I mean, my clients' results just went through the roof. I mean, I'm so excited. There's so much stuff I want to tell like that changed since
Well, dude,
last year.
talk to me. Like, I'm putty in your hands. Take us wherever you want to go.
Yeah, because it was really like I said that conversation I had with Jonathan about sticking to the fundamentals, and that really woke me up because I was wasting a lot of time doing things half-assed, winging it. So like, all right, let me just try Taki's method 100%, and then stuff really started to shift, because it was a place where like that first month I made 25K. So I was like, whoa, this is tremendous because when you're stuck like at a certain income for a few months and then you just make 5 grand more, like you celebrate, because it's like you no longer have that limiting belief. You just blast past it. So I was
Yeah.
like, this is what happens. In the past 30 days, I implemented all this stuff and I made more income and I was really on this high, feeling like $1 million. And I made this post in Black Belt. It's like, oh my God, my first 30 days I implemented this. I made more money. I got more freedom and all that stuff. And then what ended up happening was the month of May, the following month, I hit this big slump. And
Yeah.
I was really just burnt out, because I did
Dude, yeah,
go
you
like
implemented
about
like a year's worth of stuff in 30 days. You didn't
a
sleep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was like do or die, and then all of a sudden, I was having like a week without any sales, and it got
Mm.
to my head. I'm like, wait a minute. I have an authority site, I have a lead mag, I have a revised webinar, and for all this work I'm doing, I should be making 100K a month. you know? It was like
Mm.
a bit delusional. And, that's when I really realized, like, I'm just really in my head. And, you know, I took it upon myself because I remember when I joined MDCI, you said the three qualities: quick to implement, quick to ask for help, and quick to share. So
Yeah,
what I
totally.
did was, I said, listen, I'm probably not the only one that just takes off implementing all this stuff very quickly and then feeling burnt out, feeling let down. So I said, let me go reach out. And
Mm.
what I did for that month of May, the second month of Black Belt, was literally reach out to a lot of the members, jumped on Skype sessions, got on calls, and they had just amazing conversations with me. They told me about their battle scars and their experiences. A lot of them were similar, and
Mm.
learning from them, learning how to pace myself, learning how to trust the process, do the fundamentals, be patient. It started to make some big shifts in me. And I'm going to give a shout out to some people, if you don't mind,
Dude,
because
yeah, of course, man.
helped me out. So, of
Of course.
course, Jonathan, Mario, man, he's been helping me out like crazy. Gabby, of
Yeah.
course, Adam, Seth, Ben, like just having these conversations on the side, outside of the Black Belt Forum, and outside of everything, and just one to one, and sharing like the similar type of issues of trying to do everything at once, and realizing a lot of them have been a lot longer, and they implemented a bit slower, but did things more in a fundamental way.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, I started to like get a shift in terms of understanding that, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And even though I'm a very extreme action taker type of guy, I'm a high achiever, this type A personality could be detrimental because you create this unrealistic expectation of your success. And,
Mm.
I have a side business besides all of this. It's an online weight loss business. So I get a person that will go into my online weight loss program and they'll say, hey, AJ, I need to lose 100 pounds, but I need to do it in the next 2 months. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, it took you 10 years to get that overweight. You think you're going to change it in 2 months? And here I am being the idiot thinking that I'm going to have,
Doing the
you know,
same thing. That's right.
$1 million a month business within 30 days.
That's funny, man. Okay, so why don't we just kind of give us the month? So April was 25. May was less, right? May you lost, well, you didn't lose momentum, but like there's the lag time between when you do the work and when the results hit.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think I went to 18K, but it
yeah,
was because I did so much work and I killed myself to get that bump and I went backwards. I
yeah,
even reached out to you. I think I was like this little depressed puppy,
yeah. You
like,
were. I remember we spoke. It was
you
like, dude,
know,
I'm doing all this stuff. It's not working, and we kind of just streamlined and simplified it. And I get it.
because
Um,
I'm sorry. Another thing that I forgot to mention was basically my Facebook ads account also got shut down
yeah.
at May, and that's one of the reasons why I had the slump because I had all my eggs in that basket as my number one lead source. So I was like, man, I have all this stuff built out, but I don't have any traffic going to it, and I was starting to get very worried that I'm going to start going downhill, and that's when, like I said, I reached out for help and I spoke to you, I spoke to everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Love it. So, should we kick going through the months, or do you want to kick back and talk about the authority site in the podcast and loop back to this later? What do you think's best?
So I'll just kind of go into, I guess, what kind of turned it around,
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
and I'll go into how like those three factors were very instrumental in it because, the asking for help, I think
Yeah.
that's something that I'm kind of new to myself. I'm the oldest of four boys, and I've always been like, the guy who never talks about being in trouble or feeling depressed or just, sharing my feelings. And of course, being a coach, and my clients, I got my shit together, everything's going smoothly. So it was
Yeah, your clients look to you for
quite a
answers and you
change.
give them and mm,
Yeah, and to go and reach out to someone and say, listen, I'm kind of feeling out of it, or I lost my mojo and I need a little pep talk, and to be in a place where I could just be vulnerable and reach out to people. That is still kind of new to me. I've only been doing it, for the past few years, but I've noticed being vulnerable, asking for help. I mean, that's what turned everything around because everyone was giving me little insights, little tips, and then I just started to, in a sense, rebuild this like new type of confidence,
mhm,
because I said to myself, like, I have all the systems ready to go. And sure, my Facebook is down. I'm not getting a lot of traffic, but I still have my hustle. I still have this whatever it takes attitude. And when I look back, because I keep a journal, I've been keeping it for about 15 years now. It's one of the best things I ever have. And I look back and I look at like the moments in my life when I just was thriving financially. I felt unstoppable, 10 out of 10, just confidence and creativity. I look back, I created moments of momentum, where
Mm.
I was hustling my ass off. I was doing whatever it takes and having that mindset. And then once I built this momentum, it was easy to ride it out. And
Yeah.
I was watching this interview with Will Smith, and Will Smith was asked, "Hey, Will Smith, you're about 50 years old, almost 50. How do you stay in shape?" And Will
Mm.
Smith said, "Easy. I never get out of shape." And all of a sudden, a light bulb went off in my head because I got
Wow.
that fitness. He stays within like a 10-pound goal of his body weight, but he's always in momentum. He's always eating and training, but he never lets himself get obese. So I realized in my business, I got to do this like,
Position as equal, and they promote.
yeah, I mean, I've got so much people on my list just from the podcast.
Totally. So let's just talk about. We said earlier there's kind of really three core things that you've done, or three core things we're going to zoom in on. There was the triage call, which we talked a little bit about, and going from 2K to 5K and increasing the close rate from 60 to 90, which is epic, man. The podcast on the authority side kind of go together. The authority side is the framework for the site itself, and the podcast is really the new, the fresh, the interesting that we're kind of able to promote. Let's talk about. I know you've reached out and you've asked for help. You've got the podcast, which is giving you a ton of leads, even though the Facebook account's still shut down. Let's talk about outcomes and results, bro. Like earlier on, we were saying that it started off with this kind of limit, like maybe 20K a month is all it's ever going to be. Where is it at now, and what does it look like in the future?
Okay, so August, a few days ago, I had my best month ever, and I was really just amazed by the amount of conversions that I got, just the amount of new clients. But just one thing also shifted, like I said, my ability to serve my clients better by having a team of ninjas. I use the
Mm.
Carve VAs. I hired my own personal administrator. I'm getting insane results from my clients. I've never gotten so much testimonials and success stories, and that's also another thing. The case studies has increased my triages, increased the people going into my program. So because of that, I'm able to serve, and also that's why I raised my prices because the demand was so high that I went to a $5,000 program, and then in the month of August, I also changed that. Instead of doing just, let's say, a 3-month $5,000 program, I then converted it into a year-long program. So basically $1,600 a month, and I also added a new 24K program. So $24,000. It's more like a private type of coaching. The other one's a group model that's very leveraged. So and then in the month of August, I sold 27 $5,000 packages,
Mm-hmm.
and I sold two $24,000 packages.
Dude, that's a good month.
Yes, sir. A great month, and I'm very, very happy. I'm very blessed. I'm grateful, because just like, I mean, in terms of like billable income, it's close to 200K, and I never in a million years thought that I could make that in 1 month. I made more in that 1 month than I did the whole year of 2015 from this business.
Dude, I'm so proud of you, mate. That's so fantastic. You should be absolutely stoked. That's awesome. Obviously, what I love about this, like the money is great, but I think what it does, like, firstly, it allows you to just serve people like you haven't served them before, but also, I think it's like the limiting belief thing that you felt like was holding you back before is completely shattered, and it must, like, I think the money's good, but the mindset must make things possible that weren't before. Tell me a little bit about the, you know, the money's awesome, and I'm super proud about that. But what else is kind of different now, 4 months in?
Well, just like I said, the conversation I had with my black belt buddies, just in terms of what they do to just stay very focused, their daily habits, how they structure their week. Everyone's very transparent on what they do to have stamina. You know, so like I said before, I was very much so sprinting. Now I'm more of like, yeah, I sprint, but I rest. I sprint, but I rest. So I'm more in touch with my internal cues. So I don't burn myself out. And
Love that.
there's this insane level of confidence that I have right now in my ability to add value to someone. We
Mm.
were talking about this on the podcast yesterday, but you know, right now you could strip me down to my boxers, throw me into a jungle in some weird country, and within a month's time, I'll get back on my feet. Just give me a phone and an internet connection, and I will sell my way back into where I was. And just having that power, it gives you a lot of confidence.
That's so funny. This is my bad drawing of you in your boxer shorts. That's awesome. So yeah, confidence is just massive. And you talked before about kind of the lack of momentum and having momentum and like being able to kind of not get out of shape but get in shape. I think that's, you know, like stay in shape rather, is awesome. I don't have to worry about money ever again is awesome. If we just go, what would you say, mate? 3 keys for creating that momentum. Let's say I don't have momentum right now, and yeah, there's people on the call right now who have either got it and they're killing it, or they could use a little bit of this kind of AJ mojo. Give us kind of 1 or 2 or 3 takeaways for here's how to get momentum.
Sure. So one of my favorite mentors and philosophers is Jim Rohn, RIP, and he said, your income is directly correlated to the amount of value you put out in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So I've come to realize, like, maybe I'm not making my income because I'm not adding enough value. So that is why, like, I go crazy on every channel that I have: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, emails, my podcast. How can I add a massive amount of value and goodwill and really, you know, help people genuinely want the best for them? You know, some certain people that, you know, get on my triages, they don't have money, you know, and they'll openly say that at the application, but how can I leave them off better? You know, how
Yeah.
can I just add as much value so they could get some momentum themselves and then make some money and come back into my program? So just being in a place where I'm constantly adding value, and I wake up in the morning, it's like, how can I touch as many lives as I can, you know, by giving them advice, inspiration, business tips. And, you know, like I said, I'm doing a lot of turbo coaching sessions, you know,
Mm.
AKA they're kind of like triages in a sense, where I get people on the phone for 10, 15 minutes and add an immense level of value, blow their mind, and without asking for anything in return.
Yep. Love that, man. So the key to momentum for you has been, you know, if I'm not getting momentum financially, it's because I'm not putting enough value out in the marketplace, and I'm just going to up that, which is where kind of
Yeah.
podcast, authority blog, Facebook posts, etc. came from. That's awesome. Is that the core, or is there something else that people should be doing to boost their momentum?
Well, you know, like I mean, if you look at it, it's just giving, and it's like having an abundant mindset. Like, I have so much information, I have so much I could help people with, and
Mm.
you know, like Zig Ziglar says, the more people that you help get what they want, you get what you want. So
Yeah.
it's not that you have a business, obviously, not being like, you know, all this is for charity, I don't want to make any money. You still want
No.
to close sales, you know, but being in a place where, you know, beyond the sales, beyond the delivery, you're also helping people out with tips here and there, but also being in that mindset that there's so much out there that you can help people with. So yeah, yes,
Love.
getting first, and you know, like, you know, the bottom line is, like, basically when it comes down to sales, it's really just the amount of calls you have per week, you know? So, like, I tell my students, like, you know, you got to have at least 10 sales conversations per week. So from Monday to Friday, make 2 same sales phone calls a day. So if they
Mhm.
just focus on 10 sales conversations a week, they're going to hit their income goals. And
Yeah. You can't not.
yeah. So what do I need to do Monday morning to Friday to basically be in a place where I get at least 10 sales conversations per week?
That is awesome. Love that, man. Uh, we may have already covered this, but if you just like 3 pieces of wisdom for people to get the most out of black belt, what would they be?
First and foremost, be patient, you know? So it's basically trusting the process, knowing that there's so many members who have been successful with it. And I'll be honest, you know, when I hit that slump and my Facebook account got shut down, I was going into the negative, I was kind of like, oh my God, maybe black belt's not for me. Maybe I need a different type of system, you know? And I was about to give up, like, being straight up with it. And it wasn't until I reached out for help. So that goes into the second point. So one is just being patient. It's a marathon, trusting the process, know that it obviously works, and doing the fundamentals, not winging it, not doing your old tricks. Number two is asking for help. I mean, I post fairly frequently inside the group, inside the Facebook group, and reaching out to members like, hey, let's jump on a quick Skype chat. Give me your online schedule. I'll find a time that works for both of us. I'd love to connect. But being in that conversation, because I hit a lot of these goals before, like I hit my intensive, but yeah, even being at the intensive, when you're talking about a lot of the concepts and a lot of the frameworks, you have someone else to bounce it off of,
It's awesome.
So I typically, calls where I ask for help, but then someone says like, okay, that four forces, you're doing it wrong. The way you do the four forces is this way, and all of a sudden you get a better understanding of it, and then it changes the way that you approach it.
Dude, I love that. That's awesome. Third piece of advice.
You just got to create that momentum, and like I said, everyone has different ways of momentum, but for me, it's being in a very positive, confident mindset, and being in a place where I add a lot of value and help people, and I'm always in a place of, thinking very abundantly. There's more than enough to go around, so, I'm not going to go broke, and let me just help people without asking for in return, giving, and also the momentum of hustling my ass off, getting people on triages, basically, like this past month of August when I hit all my goals, I would say that, a good 20% of the applications said, I don't have money to invest, or I don't have the money in my business right now. But it's like, I'm not thinking about that. I'm like, I'm going to show them so much value that they're going to realize the cost of being where they are is far more expensive than investing in me to get them out of the hell they're in. So just having that mindset that they need me more than they need that money to hold on to it, So it's just kind of like just knowing that my program is going to give them immense help. I have the results and the track record to get them to where they need to be. And when they feel that certainty and they know I'm going to get them there, that's when everything changes, And because of the belief in myself, the belief in my program, like I said, my clients' results and testimonials have gone through the roof. Like I have this one page of case studies. Every day I'm getting stuff from my Facebook group. I'm saying it to the ninjas, hey, add this on there, add that on there. Because, everyone's in that high momentum state with me. Because, I create a certain type of culture because I practice what I preach.
Mate, I freaking love this. This is well done. I just want to say kudos to you. Well done for the progress you've made. It's been an epic 4-month ride. Kudos for taking so much action, for being so, so willing to implement. So, like, if I think about the 3 quicks, be quick to implement, be quick to ask for help, be quick to share. You are just possibly the best model of those 3 things I've seen in a few months, mate. So I just want to say well done. You deserve the success you're getting, and your clients are lucky to have you. What I'd love to do, if it's cool with you, mate, is just have a couple of people. I just want to know, from listening to this conversation with AJ right now, what's been most useful for you? What have you learned? What's kind of inspired you the most? I'm going to give you 30 seconds right now to type in your best takeaways, and then we might do a super quick Q&A, AJ, if you're up for it.
Absolutely.
All right. So Cyril says, huge tone of energy and momentum. I can feel it all the way from New York to the northern beaches of Sydney. That's awesome. Alfie says, great story, mate. You deserve some credit, Taki, because it's your great framework that makes it possible. Yeah, and AJ's worked the system, right? Simon says, don't do my old tricks. Get back to the fundamentals. Simon,
Yeah.
love that. What else? Thanks for sharing, AJ. Great success. Well done, says Jason. Lots of kind of congratulations. Marathon, not a sprint. Yeah, I think it's a marathon. I'm not sure. Marathons aren't really my thing. They feel like hard work, but I think the way you make it work is to balance your work ethic with your rest ethic. You talked about sprint and then rest, and then sprint and then rest. Like, you're in the gym world, mate, and I think it's the perfect metaphor. When you lift weights, you lift something super, super heavy, and it actually breaks the muscle, but where it builds is in the recovery phase, right? And so if you don't have recovery phase, all you're doing is working harder. You end up burning out. Andrew says, mindset versus model. Reach out for help more, says Pauline. Um, oh, AJ, here's an interesting question. Alfie says, what did you have to give up to move forward?
What I have to give up to move forward?
Yeah.
Uh,
In fact, if you have any questions for AJ, type them in right now. We'll do 5 quick minutes of Q&A if we have 5 minutes of questions. Yeah, first question, what did you have to give up?
So that's a great question. I mean, I could say like one part is giving up being small and being limited and kind of like having a bigger belief in myself. So I gave that up. And of course, like I'm an information junkie. I love to learn. I love to read. And you know, I realized that like the black belt frameworks, you got to really like study them as if you're in college, you know? So like at first I was kind of passively listening to the intensives. I was on like 2 times the speed on my phone, just listening to them. Okay, great, great, great. But like I said, I had to go back to the fundamentals, listen to them, slowly implement, take notes, make the changes. So going to a place where I minimize my external information, you know, I still read and I still enjoy other information. But like, for example, in the next 8 weeks, I'm putting on my first black belt style 2-day live event. So everything is focused on the live event. So filling out the event, marketing the event, you know, just making sure that the funnels are set up, the Facebook ads are set up. You know, so like you said, there's two sets of information. There's later information and right now information. So
Yeah.
what I had to give up was focusing more on the right now information.
Dude, I love that. I think that's super awesome. Good question and well answered. Um, what other questions do you have, guys? I don't see too many questions here. Let's have a look. Somebody just wants to know, what do you do with the podcast after you've recorded it?
Yeah, cool, cool. So basically, you know, I got some great insights from Ben and Harry
Yeah,
in the group. They're
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're the podcast gurus. So
Totally are.
basically, you know, they're like, listen, you ought to be in a position where you are just performing your superpower. You do the podcast. You know, I don't recommend doing all the back end stuff, and I hate the back end stuff. So I just go and I perform the episode. I record it. You know, let's say
Yep,
30 minutes or so, and then I send it to my administrator. She adds an introduction and then the outro. You know, it's a call to action to go back on the site, so on and so forth. And then
yep,
I had my team of ninjas. So, you know, last night I interviewed Taki, so I sent Taki's bio, his photo. While I'm doing the interview, I just take like a few bullet points and like I create a headline based on the stuff we spoke about, and I just send him a quick email. And then, you know, wake up the next morning. You know, my administrator puts it on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, you know, all these places. It's transmitted all around the world. And then the ninjas, they put it on the blog. So then I just, you know, write a quick email, set up like a Facebook social media post, and my job is done. So, you know, pretty much I just like to show up and perform and then have my team do all the back end stuff.
love that, man. Well done, dude. That's fantastic. Dude, uh, epic share. Congratulations. Clients are lucky to have you, and I'm really grateful for the chance to work with you. And here's to more, bigger, better, funner, awesomer. Keep it up, bro.
Hey, thank you, Taki, man. It's really an honor to be here and to share everything. You know, I'm no different than anyone. Like I said, I'm just grateful to be a black belt and to apply all this stuff. You know, it really like it's all there. You know, and if anyone needs any help, I'll give you some tips. I'll give you some turbo coaching, anything to get some momentum going.
Mate, love that. Thanks a ton. Well done, bro. That's so good. All right, guys. That was fab. Uh, yeah, he mentioned 2 guys in our black belt. He totally did. Ben and Harry are 2 podcast experts. So totally, if you want to get your podcast game on, talk to Ben, talk to Harry. They're both great guys. All right, so let's just have a quick look here. Well, that went better and longer than I was expecting. AJ, you're an absolute machine, brother. Well done.